All right, 1.8, we're going to get into algebra properties. We've done a little bit of work with expressions and variables and equations, solving those problems um, in a little bit of a step-by-step fashion, but sometimes you get into a little bit longer problems and you need some different properties to help you simplify those problems so that they're a little bit easier for you to do. Okay, and so that's what we're going to get into today. And you're going to notice right away we have a lot of vocabulary, so you may need to do some pausing so you can get it all written down. First word that we have is equivalent expressions. Okay, those are expressions with the same value. Okay, we're going to manipulate some expressions today, and when we're done with them, they're still going to equal the same as they would have before, but we're putting them in a simpler form. Properties are statements that are true for all numbers. Properties that we work with today work for expressions, and they work for certain circumstances. The ones that we look at today are for when it's all adding or all multiplying. The distributive property combines addition and multiplication. It's a little bit unique. It's maybe one of the tougher ones to use, but once you start using it, it begins to make a lot more sense, and we'll work on that in more of the class portion than what we will today here on the video. The commutative property is when the order doesn't change the sum of the product. So you might have 3 plus 4 plus 5. Well, if I said 5 plus 4 plus 3, that's going to equal the same thing as 3 plus 4 plus 5 would have. Maybe for me, it's just easier to start with the big numbers instead of the smaller numbers. And the commutative property allows you to mix those around and still get the same answer. All right, and again, it's a statement that's been proven true for all numbers that fall into the category of being all adding or all multiplying. The associative property says that grouping does not change the sum or the product. So maybe if I have that problem of 3 plus 4 plus 5 and I have parentheses around the 3 plus 4, well, that works, but I could also move those parentheses and do the 4 plus 5 first, according to our PEMDAS, where we do the parentheses before anything else. And it's going to work all the same, and it won't be a problem. And the associative property says that. It's whichever one's associated with each other first, you can go ahead and do. It won't change the problem. You can do it in any order. And finally, the identity property, and that's any number added to 0 is itself. And that's something that you've worked with knowingly and unknowingly for a long time. So using some of these properties, we want to make sure we're labeling what we use as we go through here so we can prove we know what we're doing. So in this case, I have 5 times the quantity 3 plus 2. This is the distributive property. And in the distributive property, I'm combining addition and multiplication together. So here I have some addition, but over here I'm going to have some multiplication. This is 5 times this quantity. Well, order of operations says I could do parentheses first and get 5, and 5 times 5 is 25, and that gives me a final answer. But I'm not looking for a final answer right now. Right now I'm looking to learn how to rewrite things and see different representations. So what I do here is I take 5 times both parts of this quantity. 5 times 3. 5 times 3 is 15. In addition to that, I still need 5 times 2. 5 times 2 is 10. 15 plus 10 would equal 25, which was the same as if I had went by PEMDAS. 5 times 5 is 25. But again, we're working on rewriting things so that we can see them in different ways and understand that they're still equivalent expressions. We're not so much looking for the final answers like we would many other times. Here I have 3 times 7 plus 3 times 4. Here's the opposite of the distributive property, where we're going to pull out a common factor of both. 3 is being multiplied by each of these. Okay, so instead of trying to say 3 times 7 and 3 plus 4, I'm going to rewrite it to a shorter form. I'm going to say 3 times the quantity of 7 plus 4. Now, if I think back to my last problem where I multiplied through, I'm still doing that. 3 times 7 matches up here, plus I need 3 times 4. Again, it's just a different way of looking at it, but it shows different representations of the same information in the same value for the expressions that we're looking at. We'll get into the other properties here in the next couple days, not next couple days, tomorrow, and things will be real good. All right, see you then.